Welcome to another video. This is a movie review video, and it's a movie I watched last year actually. Probably a movie that went under the radar, and that's disappointing really, because it was an absolutely riveting watch. The movie's title was Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, and why that title I'll get onto a little later. Just to say that it was directed and written for the screen by Elisa Hittman, the cinematographer Helene Hlufer, and music by Julie Halter, and the cast, Autumn, the lead character, was played by Sydney Flanagan, Skylar, Autumn's cousin, played by Talia Ryder, Autumn's stepfather, Ryan Airgold, Autumn's mother, Sharon Van Etten. You probably know her as a music artist. Then we get Theodore Pellerin, who plays Jasper, a young man that the two girls meet on their travels. To the movie then. This 17-year-old high school student, Autumn, and part-time mini-mart worker, lives in a small town in Pennsylvania. And she shares with her close friend, cousin Skella, that she's pregnant and that she wants an abortion. Now, being under 18, the state laws mean that there are no abortion services in her community unless she gets parental consent, which is something that she wants to avoid. So with the help of her cousin Skylar, they take the bus to New York City to find a suitable clinic to do the dastardly deed. And of course, there will be free of the rigid red tape. Now, a brief picture of Autumn's everyday life at home in a blue-collar family. It seems her mother, described as decent, Sharon Van Etten, but her hostile stepfather, played by Ryan Airgold, and her experience in school is not exactly kindly. All the men are either hostile or creeps, and we witness one scene early on where a male classmate is heard to call her a slut after watching her play guitar and sing at a school event. The film has an independent style, and early on we sense Autumn's despair as she tries to induce a miscarriage by punching herself in the stomach. It's quite a disturbing scene, really. The film touches on the conservative rules and regulations that impinge on the issue of a woman's right to choose in America today. And in large parts of America, abortion is still a very, very difficult procedure to carry out. We also get a taste of the moral compass here, and how many people view this social problem. And the value systems creates an atmosphere where young teenagers are fearful of sharing their problems and dealing with it. For example, Autumn is absolutely adamant against telling her sympathetic mother. You see Autumn showing her emotional side, as I said, reacting to those male peer insults at her school event. And she attempts self-harming as well, as I described earlier. She's clearly hurting emotionally and fearful of an unknown future. Later she considers maybe an overdose as well, but all this enables the viewer to gain a perception as to what it may feel like for a young 17-year-old faced with this harrowing set of circumstances. And the self-harming continues as she pierces her nose to wear a stud. The director is intent on the pain inflicted, presumably to correspond to the positivity pregnancy test. She then has an ultrasound, and the nurse gives her a rather biased pro-life view on how she should proceed when options are discussed, and it reflects very much the religious right in the US. Travel to New York then follows, and a young guy tries to chat both girls up on the bus. Autumn is very distant and clearly troubled and preoccupied by the impending procedure, but her cousin exchanges pleasantries with the boy whose name is Jasper. Now, this brief encounter proves valuable further down the line. New York City is presented as a very vibrant, full of life city, busgoers everywhere earning their trade, and appears somewhat overpowering for the girls, but they negotiate the trip to the clinic and lose the attention of Jasper. The two girls talk little, and I wondered, could the script have explored anxiety that Autumn was experiencing a little more? Additionally, Autumn gets affected by the bureaucracy and its referral onto another clinic because she is 18 weeks pregnant and her first clinic can't do the procedure beyond 12 weeks. This was rather alarmed me, but this is how it operates in the US. And this new clinic is requiring a 2-day consultation, one night in New York City with little money to stay is the consequence of this, because cheap hotels are out of the way. So the subway becomes the favourite haunt to try and catch a few hours, bearing in mind that the following day she is going to have this procedure carried out. And it certainly again impacts the notion of poverty on this situation, and the uniform regulations as well over facilities. Private healthcare in action, of course, in the US. So they're struggling to find the money for the return fare now as a result of this extra night out on the subway, and they by chance meet Jasper again, and he agrees generously to give them cash for the tickets. He's a very understanding and generous guy, and nothing like the first perception that the girls had of him. Then see the problems really that Autumn and Scarlett have trying to get through the night. It's very uncomfortable and very tense and stressful, but for the most part Autumn is facing this traumatic event with tremendous courage, although it's hardly ideal preparation obviously, but the support of her cousin is also a factor, and we witnessed a collection of down and outs and homeless weirdos on the streets and down in the subway system at night in New York City. So we then moved to the interview at the clinic, and it focuses very much on Autumn's sexual history, and it's a very emotionally powerful scene. And there's a Q&A that focuses Autumn to recall, forces Autumn to recall sexual abuse incidents that she's left with deep scars in her psyche. And this passage will no doubt stir those viewing the movie, and the acting is riveting. And it feels more like a documentary at this stage, and further we get a visual impact of the pre-med injection on Autumn's body, and you sense her need for adult comfort, but she has to stay strong. The final frame shows us the two after the procedure, with Autumn saying she's okay, but you know this isn't the case. The movie's a necessary message to all young girls, I guess, about the impact of an unwanted pregnancy, and a further message to the public and private health authorities in the US to get their act together, and I guess worldwide as well, that more resources are needed to be available for these vulnerable females, and that the ability to pay should be taken out of the equation. Now, one point about the title is a series of possible answers to a question that's given to Autumn at the clinic. The film has a dull sheen about it, reflective of its serious tone. There isn't any fun elements really in this movie. It's a serious social problem film, and the director delivers the message in an appropriate way. I thought it was a very, very good film, and I suggest that you get to watch it.